I was taking some time out to play a game for my own enjoyment and just sinking into a video game as a means of digital escape when one of my best friends recommended a game to me. So I looked it up on Game Pass and thought, well, this looks like something different and not something I would normally play, but this legendary legend has never steered me wrong before, so I rolled the dice and dove into Bramble the Mountain King. Right away this game looked lush, had a pretty light-hearted fun vibe which would be fun for the whole family. Developed by Dimfrost Studio and published by Merge Games, which sets itself as an action-adventure game based on Scandinavian folklore. You play as Ole, waking up after a nightmare in the middle of your room, looking for your older sister who is nowhere to be seen. Immediately, as you meet Ole and start moving through the wonderful world that has been created, you're led to believe that Ole is a shy and timid young boy. You'll leave the safety of your bedroom to find your sister and you'll eventually catch up to her, only to stumble and fall into a giant tree which magically shrinks you down, at which point you will get to interact with the gnomes and fairies of the land before returning to normal size. But as night descends on the brother and sister, a troll appears and kidnaps Ole's sister, leaving you alone in the dark with God knows what to contend with. But as you use Ole to carry out the adventure, you'll realise Ole ain't no bitch. As you progress through the game, you will find hand-carved toys to collect and storybooks to read. Each of these books you will read is based on folklore and is setting the scene for what awaits you at the end of the level ahead. The start of this game, stealth and timing is key to your success in this area, to survive and to push on. The first book you will encounter is about a man named Nakken, who was a victim of violence and has an incredibly tragic story. However, he is a hypnotic violin player and you will succumb to his melodies and be lured to him. This story relates to the water spirits of Nordic folklore called Nakken or Naki, who, depending on the story, aren't always malevolent beings, but there is a constant here of water and violin. And here's a fun fact, there is a nod to the Nakken in Rainbow Six Siege with the operator of Nock. As you move from level to level and book to book, the stories get darker, heavier, and are far more disturbing. So brace yourself, as there are some disturbing elements in the game which can make the player feel uneasy. I found the actual player character model to be fairly plain and isn't really the star of the show in Bramble, which I thought was an interesting move because your enemies, the bosses especially, they are jam-packed with details and intricacies from a model design perspective. Now the controls for the game are very simple and easy to master, no matter what platform you are playing this on. Yes, I forgot to mention, Bramble is available on PC, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch. Now, I have finished the game on both PC and Xbox, and the simplistic controls are very easy for any level of gamer to wrap their heads around and to master fairly quickly without having to think about complex button combinations, which in some instances, when the game puts you under pressure, is a bit of a godsend. Standard directional movement with a button to sprint or crawl, action button to interact with objects, and a button to aim and throw objects. While you're playing the game itself, the playstyle is not light and quick to respond. You feel more weighted and need to take this into consideration. There will be instances in the game where you are under pressure from either a boss or just environmental hazards, and I have found that it's better to keep moving instead of stopping to take stock of your surroundings. There will be times within the game where you will need to combine controls together, but in this, there are screen prompts to let you know this is the case, and these instances come up when you are not under pressure from an enemy. I found Bramble to be absolutely gorgeous. It's not going too over the top with intense, insane graphics, but they are nothing to sniff at either. Throughout the game, you'll be taken through a variety of different scenery, and each of them is as impressive and unique as each other. You'll get to explore caves, forests, villages, rivers, and more. Each environment has its own story and its own lightscape to go with it. Blend this in with the eerie sounds and environmental noises which set the tone for an extraordinary experience. The visuals and camera are fixed in place as you move from scene to scene within the level. The game designers have some excellent graphical choices here where they play on focus to draw your eyes into what they want you to focus on, and this plays out especially well when light shafts are introduced into the mix. Now, in terms of longevity, you can knock Bramble out in approximately 3 to 4 hours. It does attempt to slow you down with a couple of puzzles here and there in order to progress, but they aren't the most complex puzzles in the world, and most players will be able to get through them fairly quickly. However, smashing through Bramble that quickly would be an incredible disservice to yourself and to the creators of the game, because you will rob yourself of the experience of immersing yourself into the story and the folklore that's being told, and seeing how wonderfully they have been intertwined together to bring you the amazing overall experience that is Bramble. I think in this aspect, Bramble has done something that all AAA games of recent times have failed to do. It's actually given me an excuse to continue pushing through the game by telling an amazing yet simple story, and hasn't given me the option to go 300 different ways to get there or drown me in side quests. Bramble keeps it simple yet fun, with enough horror elements to satisfy that eerie craving, but is also wholesome enough to make you want to complete it.